Today we'll be checking out 4 awesome Casio watches in one video. All 4 of them offer something a little bit different. Dressy, casual, and in between. And all 4 of them come in at about $20 each. And I do think that everyone should have at least one of these Casios in their collection. Hello there, my name's Kieran, welcome to Top Tier Ticket. I hope you're having a good day. I always struggle a little bit with Casio reviews, because I feel like the watches are fairly straightforward and they don't feature that much to talk about. Especially the super affordable ones like we have here today. So I thought let's put all 4 of them together, so we can get that fast-paced watch review like we usually do on this channel. Therefore, I'll give each Casio about 2 minutes of runtime, then I'll tell you which one is my top recommendation at the end of the video. I will try and leave links for all 4 in the description, but of course, shop around and find the best price for your location. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Enough waffling, let's check out these awesome little Casios. So 4 Casio watches, all offering something slightly different. You've definitely seen 2 of these before, but these 2 you probably haven't. These 2 are a little bit under the radar, they don't get many reviews here on YouTube. You don't see many people wearing them, and you don't see them in many state of the collections. Now you might notice that I have a tube of Polywatch here, and that's because pretty much every single Casio watch comes with an acrylic crystal. So these things scratch easier than a scratch card. So if you're going to start collecting affordable Casios, or even if you just have 1 or 2, you'll definitely need a tube of this. What you can do is wear these for a few months, let the crystal get full of scratches, you put a little bit of this on with a microfiber cloth, and you can get that crystal looking almost brand new. You can pick these tubes up for about £5. I buy mine from AliExpress, so I will leave a link for this in the description. Add it to your next AliExpress order and you're all good. So we're going to start off with the digital options today, and then we'll move on to the analog. Basically, we're going to start off with the most casual watches, the beaters, and then we'll go on to the slightly more dressier options. And where better to start than one of the most iconic watches on the planet, and that's not an exaggeration, the Casio F-91W. I almost feel like there's nothing I can say about this watch that hasn't been said already, so I'll just keep this one short and sweet. This watch is commonly known as the best cheap watch that money can buy. You can pick these up for about $10–15 quite easily, and what the watch offers for that amount is quite honestly amazing. You do get your classic Casio features here, so you get plenty of information on the dial, day of the week, date of the month, and then your time. You can also switch between 12 and 24-hour formats. You also get alarms and a stopwatch. Truth be told, I have never set an alarm on a Casio, and let's be honest, you probably won't either. The design here is super retro, although the colour of this definitely makes it feel a little bit more contemporary, but I picked it up in this baby blue because I wanted it to be my summer watch. I wear this watch when I go on holiday, when the sun's out, it's a bit hot and sweaty, because the watch is so light and comfortable that it's sort of a good wear for those sweaty months. Water resistance here is only 30 meters, which is splash proof, but some people have been crazy enough and gone diving with these watches, and somehow they have survived. Now it doesn't mean every single unit will survive because they are only rated to be splash proof, but just know that these watches are definitely more capable than what it says on the tin. Now one bad thing about the F-91W is that the light is as weak as they come. You could probably just about read the time in the middle of the night, but if your life depended on it, you certainly wouldn't want to rely on that little green light. Now the strap here is cheap, but it does the job. I find that the buckle is where this watch will fail in terms of durability. Basically, if you catch this, I find that the buckle is the weakest point, but you are getting an 18mm lug width here, so you can put this on pretty much any strap you want. In terms of size, these things are tiny. 33mm in terms of the case diameter. The lug to lug is 38mm, and then the thickness is 8.5mm. These things are small, they are dainty, but again, that makes them a great watch for the summer. When you don't want to wear something heavy that gets in the way, you strap on the F-91W and you're good to go. However, if you want something slightly better that's not even that much more expensive, then you need to check out the W-86. This watch sort of fixes some of the problems with the F-91W, but it still maintains that sort of retro look that the F-91W offers. And I think the vibe here is like a bit of a spy watch. Even the little vents here on the strap give that sort of energy. And speaking of, the strap here is slightly better quality than the F-91W, although you are still getting this crappy buckle that will probably fail at some point. But there is 2 huge upgrades you get with this watch over the F-91. First of all, a higher water resistance. This one comes with 50 meters over the 30 of the F-91. 50 meters is swim proof, so you can jump in the pool with this one no problem. And you also get a miles better backlight. The tiny green LED in the corner has been ditched for a full screen illumination here, and this is one that you could rely on if it was life or death. In terms of the module functionality, it is the exact same. However, the buttons on this watch are slightly bigger and slightly further apart, which means ergonomically they are a lot easier to use. And if the F-91W is just slightly too small for you, then this one might be better. This one comes in with a 36mm case diameter. The lug to lug here is 39mm, and the watch is quite a lot thicker, coming in at 10.5mm. Therefore, you do get a more substantial wearing experience with this watch. Not big by any means, it still works on a tiny wrist like mine, but if the F-91 is just a little bit too small for you, then it's worth upgrading to something like this. this. But the only problem with both of these watches is that they're super casual. I would not recommend wearing either of these watches to a formal event. You just look like a bit of an idiot. That's where a Casio like this really comes into its own, because it still offers that Casio look and vibe with the design. However, the look of it is substantially more dressy, and it's a watch that you could easily wear for a formal occasion, especially if you swap out this resin strap for leather. It ditches the digital display for a classic 3-hand. Now, of course, that does mean you lose the functionality that you get with the last two watches, so you don't get the stopwatch, you don't get the day date. However, you do get a watch that is substantially more versatile. You do get some metal hands here, and they do actually work against that black dial. White printed numerals, so you do get some decent legibility here. But remember, this is a smaller watch, so it is nowhere near as legible as a dive watch, for example. And it is slightly smaller than the last two digital options, but it does wear very similar. Just over 26mm for the case diameter. Lug to lug is 37.5mm, and then the thickness is just over 8mm. Really classy wearing experience here, offers that sort of Cartier tank vibe. And again, I think putting a leather band on here, remember 18mm lug width, would look really nice. One thing to be aware of is that the crystal here does pop out from the case and the bezel, so this one will 100% pick up some scratches. Again, Polywatch here is your best friend, but also the crystal does look pretty cool. It adds some interesting angles. But if you really want to double down on that dressy vibe, then you need to get something like this. This watch is quite literally a hybrid of the other Casios that we just checked out, in that it offers an analog display that's quite dressy, but then we also get a digital display at the bottom which offers the functionality. This digital display offers month, day, and date. One click then takes you to the alarm, and then another click takes you to the second time zone. The analog and digital here can be set separately. This button on the side will set the analog display. These buttons here work the digital, which means that this watch is effectively a GMT. And then you combine that with how this watch looks, and that's where I think this watch really comes into its own. There's not many dressy style watches like this that offer this sort of functionality, especially the ones that look as good as this one does on a leather strap. Now bear in mind, the watch doesn't come looking like this. The supplied strap is actually this golden metal band, and it looks good on the watch and definitely dresses the watch down slightly, and I feel like this is a great casual option, but just look how good this watch looks on a leather band. Now this is one of those funny occasions where the strap that the watch is on is actually more expensive than the watch, but of course you can put this watch on any strap you fancy. Now in terms of dimensions, they're all coming in at very similar sizes. Just under 30mm for the case diameter, so slightly bigger than the last option. Lug to lug here is just under 39mm. Case thickness is just over 8mm. And just look at how good this watch looks on wrist. It does offer that classy mid-20th century dress watch vibe without mid-20th century dress watch problems, and I'm always surprised at just how good looking this dial is with that brushed sort of metallic finish. Gold case, but you can also get it in silver, and again we do have a raised crystal here that gives it a nice effect, but you will need some Polywatch. I think this is one of the most underrated Casio watches, especially when you put it on a leather strap, and I'm surprised that more people don't rave on about this. My top recommendation here would probably be the W-86. The backlight, increased water resistance, and bigger size is just too good to pass up on for the money. But don't neglect the AQ-230 for something a bit dressier. That dual time zone functionality is really sweet, and it will be sure to elevate your style a little bit. But go and check out my latest Casio review if you want some more top tier ticker, and I'll see you over there, guys. Bye for now.